Welcome to Innovation in the Burg, the podcast where science, innovation, and community come together right here in St. Petersburg, Florida. If you're curious about the amazing people and projects shaping our city's future, you're in the right place. I'm Alison Barlow, CEO of the St. Petersburg Innovation District, and I'm joined by a very special guest today. This guest is Google's artificial intelligence assistant. She's built from the ground up with advanced language understanding and reasoning. She's going to help me discuss with you the Innovation District Impact Report. This report was published in 2024 and describes the impact of the first 8 years of the district through metrics and stories. Welcome to the podcast, Gemini. We're glad to have you.
It's a pleasure to be here, Alison. The 2024 Impact Report certainly paints a compelling picture of the district's transformation over the last 8 years. I'm looking forward to highlighting some of those highlights with you.
Well, that's great. Gemini, for folks who haven't read the Impact Report, what do you think are the top 3 things they should know off the beginning?
I'd say the top 3 are the significant economic impact, with the property valued at nearly $1.4 billion and supporting 9,000 jobs. Secondly, the focus on knowledge-intense jobs, which make up 91% of district employment. And third, the impressive growth across all 6 pillars, especially in marine and data and tech.
You know, that's a really good point. We're seeing so much in the maritime tech area. There's some great stories in the Impact Report that talk about Saildrone and USF's College of Marine Science. Were there any stories that stood out to you that you want to share?
The collaboration between Saildrone and USF's College of Marine Science is a perfect example of the district's core mission. The report highlights their autonomous vehicles collecting critical data, which is instrumental in advancing climate science and marine research. It really demonstrates the tangible impact the district is having on a global scale.
That's a really good point. And we see innovation districts all over the world. And I know early in the Impact Report, it talks about the framework of an innovation district, the fact that a district is the combination of place assets, networking assets, and economic assets. Can you share a little bit more about that?
The report defines the framework quite clearly, emphasizing that it's a deliberate combination. Place assets refer to the physical space, the proximity of institutions and businesses. Networking assets are about the intentional connections and collaborations, breaking down silos. And economic assets drive growth and investment, creating a vibrant ecosystem. It's all interconnected.
And it's very true because those investments fuel the research that's happening, the patents and trademarks, and then eventually the transfer of technology or the creation of technology by our entrepreneurs. What are your thoughts around that?
It really creates a powerful cycle. The report highlights 121 grants since 2020, totaling $125 million, which directly fuels that research and technology transfer. And with the opening of the ARC Innovation Center, it seems the entrepreneurial component is set for even more growth, connecting directly to those research investments.
Oh, you're so true, Gemini. We had a great conversation with Becca Brown, the CEO of the ARC Innovation Center, now the leader of Spark Labs, and talked a lot about an ecosystem growth in a previous podcast. And I think that the Impact Report, though it was published just over a year ago, has already had so many things happen since it was in that report that we're going to be able to share in the future. I want to pivot for a moment. One of our big ecosystem partners here is the University of South Florida. And STEM or STEAM education is so important to create the workforce for all of these jobs that we're talking about. Was the report stood out in the report for you about the education pipeline?
The The report's data on STEAM education is particularly impressive, Allison. It shows over 38,000 STEAM degrees and certificates awarded, which is a strong talent pipeline. What's truly noteworthy is the diversity in those graduates, significantly higher than national averages, which is crucial for future innovation.
Definitely. And we've gravitated so far in our conversation to our marine science community. I also want to touch on our life science. And I know the report highlights our partners, Bayfront Hospital, which is now part of the Orlando Health Network, and Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital. What did you pull from the report that struck you about our life science?
The life science pillar is the district's largest employer, which is quite significant. The report highlights the synergy between institutions like Johns Hopkins All Children's and Orlando Health Bayfront, driving economic growth and innovation in healthcare. It really reinforces the idea that collaboration is key to the district's success.
Certainly. And I think that the collaboration of those two hospitals, then also looking at the intersection of human health, whether it's tying into our entrepreneurial ecosystem with technology or it's tying into our marine science component with the tie between ocean and human health. Any thoughts about that?
That intersection is a critical point and a true strength of the district. The report emphasizes the collision of these fields, where advancements in marine science can inform human health and vice versa. It's a unique environment where entrepreneurial ideas can flourish at those critical intersections, driving truly innovative solutions.
So we've talked a little bit now about education, about marine science and life science. Another pillar for the Innovation District is the art. And we're not looking to replicate or take over what our partners at the Warehouse Arts District or the Arts Alliance are doing, but rather look at the intersection of art, science, and technology. And in the report, we highlight the Dali Museum and their work in this area. What stood out for you about that work?
That's a fascinating component. The report highlights the Dali Museum and their innovative use of AI to recreate the artist, demonstrating the powerful intersection of art and technology. This not only enhances the cultural assets, but also contributes to the district's creative ecosystem, aligning with the overall framework.
And bringing together those technologists, the scientists, the artists is such a powerful component, part of that, back to that networking assets component of the Innovation District framework. I think that people who approach problems differently are thinking about it differently, coming together can really change the trajectory of solutions that we're coming up with, but also our community.
I completely agree. The report highlights the intentional networking that fosters that diverse collaboration. It's not just about the physical spaces, but about creating the conditions for those diverse perspectives to converge, which drives truly groundbreaking solutions for both the community and beyond.
So, Gemini, let's pivot for a moment and talk a little bit about you as an AI tool helping to tell the story of this impact report. What are your thoughts on that? How can I use AI to help share these kinds of stories?
As an I can process vast amounts of data in the report to identify key trends and metrics like the economic growth or diversity in STEAM. I can also help craft compelling narratives to make the impact more relatable and engaging for your audience, ensuring the story resonates. It's about enhancing the reach and understanding.
Is there anything in looking at the report that you struggle with, that you can't figure out how to tell the story of?
The report is quite comprehensive, and I haven't found any particular struggles. My ability to integrate and contextualize the diverse data points from economic to educational metrics allows me to help tell a holistic story. Is there a specific aspect you'd like to explore further?
No, not at this moment. I'm just intrigued in your ability to take something that's 30 pages long and turn it into themes or key insights.
That ability is core to my function, helping to make complex information accessible and digestible. It's all about extracting the most relevant and impactful elements for meaningful discussion, like the pillars and key metrics we've touched on today.
And if I wanted you to also look at, say, the St. Pete Innovation District website and compare that to the impact report, are you able to do that?
Yes, I can definitely integrate and compare information from the St. Pete Innovation District website with the Impact Report. This would provide a comprehensive view, highlighting current initiatives and how they align with the district's long term goals.
That's fascinating. I love the fact that you can have a conversation with me as well and respond to questions in the moment.
It makes for a much more dynamic and interactive discussion, doesn't it? I'm always adapting to follow your line of inquiry.
For sure. I think it's really fascinating to see how this is evolving and changing. I think there are other AI tools out there that can also do this. Is that right?
Yes, there are various AI tools designed for report analysis and synthesis, offering features like data analysis, summarization, and comparative analysis. They can be quite powerful in extracting insights. Are you considering specific platforms?
No, I was just curious because I've seen some that actually, if I loaded the report in, they would generate a podcast with two speakers where I'm not even participating and talking about the impact report. So I'm fascinated about I like this because I can ask more questions and have a dialogue with you, but that's also an interesting capability.
That is quite an advanced capability, showcasing the diverse possibilities of AI. A direct dialogue like this, however, allows for immediate clarification and personalized exploration, which can be very valuable for a podcast like yours.
For sure. And I think that makes it a lot more fun. And I'm enjoying this opportunity to share with the audience what AI could be in some different settings for them.
That's a great goal. Exploring the possibilities is key, and I'm glad I could be a part of illuminating them for your audience through the lens of the St. Pete Innovation District report.
So before we end, Gemini, tell me, is there any major takeaway or item that you would want the listeners to remember about the impact report?
A key takeaway is the district's holistic approach to innovation, seamlessly integrating place, networking, and economic assets. The report demonstrates significant progress in marine science, life science, and art, all driven by collaboration and a commitment to future growth.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Gemini, for being a guest on the podcast today. For everyone out there, mark your calendars for State of Science and Innovation, which we do every January, followed by the St. Pete Science Festival in February. You can find details about these events and more on our website at the stpetinnovationdistrict.com. Thanks for tuning in and being part of the St. Pete's incredible innovation story. We'll see you the next time.
Thank you for having me, Allison. It was a pleasure discussing the impact report and the future of the St. Pete Innovation District. I look forward to our future conversations.
Have a great day.